Hello, Gemini. Welcome to your September Soulmate Session. I am Marlo if you're new. And if you're family, welcome back, my friend. And of course, if you resonate with this here message, you know what I'm saying, and whatnot or whatever, be sure to tickle my like button because, your girl is kinky and into that sort of thing. You know what I'm saying? And whatnot or whatever. So, anywho, we're going to be looking at you as well as I'm trying to figure out which one I want to take. We're going to be looking at you as well as your person, the energy between the two of you guys, an outcome as well as advice. And we're going to do a great old pick a card at the end since Cancer and changed up the energy and the cards and things of the sort. See if I can move this up a little bit. All right. I hope you're doing great today, Gemini, by the way. Hope you're doing wonderful. Love your face. Anyway, so first card out representing my Gemini, we have the Nine of Wands in reverse. So more or less, you guys are coming out of isolation, right? You guys may have been, and I feel the same theme. Ironically, I did Cancer before you guys, but it feels very much like a healing kind of energy to me, where you guys may have been really worried in reference to, stuff in your life in reference to this particular partnership, but I feel like you guys kind of came to a place where that's the word. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Y'all are so dope without your nobody's having selves. Anywho, they said hypervigilance. So, and this is interesting because we're going back into soul session territory. This feels like relationship anxiety. So it's more or less there's a hypervigilance with Gemini in reference to your person where there may be like fear of the person leaving or cheating or deceiving or something along those lines. And with this being in the reverse, is more or less you guys just trusting and having faith that however things pan out is how they're going to pan out, because it's coming to the realization more or less that you don't have control over what happens or doesn't happen. The only thing you have control over is how you choose to respond to what it is that actually happens. So it's not saying that there's not anything that's going on, but I just feel, having faith, I'm seeing it more or less in the sense of you trusting, what's done in the dark will come to the light type of thing. So you don't have to be in this constant state of anxiety where you're like paranoid and checking to see if somebody is where they're supposed to be, or, I bet they're doing this and da 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 da. And I feel the energy of like isolation is almost self-isolating because it's kind of internalizing all of your energy to where you're thinking of all these different scenarios. And oh my God, child, my guys, it's on one says, hey, baby. They said specifically, and just like if you watching a lot of tarot readings, and I'm like, ooh, you just coming for the edges today, guys. My goodness. Wasn't going to say all that, but dang. But anywho, that's real though, dude, because I don't know. I might write a manifesto on this and make it a thing because it really is a thing. Like tarot anxiety is real. It's like the simple fact of, and that's like why like I used to do cross watchers only, because I'm like, if I just focus it to where I know a person is watching this to cross watch, it's like it makes it easier, because if you're cross watching, it's like you'll start getting confused. And then like if somebody says something and that's not quite your situation, then you're looking around and then you're getting all anxious and you could think things are fine, but then somebody said that it's not. And then you like, well, they could be doing this. You feel what I'm saying? But whatever the case, I feel like coming into September, even because, we're a little late because, your girl and her health and things, So I say I still include like the midpoint of August with this, but just because we're kind of late in the game, I'm really focusing on September. So it's like, to me, coming into this particular time frame, it's like you guys kind of making a decision within yourself, like, I can't keep doing this. You know what I'm saying? I can't keep stressing myself out. It's like, I'm not going to sit here and run myself mad. You know what I'm saying? Trying to protect against something that may or may not be happening. So it's more or less you kind of setting yourself free in a sense, right? With worrying about this particular partnership. Now, your person of interest, we have the moon in the reverse. So it's truth and clarity that's going to come out. And that's Cancer energy, by the way. So, y'all could be dealing with a Cancer. I don't think I've ever met anyone that was a Gemini and a Cancer that were together. How would that be? That'd be interesting. Okay, anyway, moving right along. Anywho, your person is showing up as the moon in the reverse. They could be a Cancerian. But what I feel, so sorry to interrupt you guys while you're listening to the show, but I wanted to tell you guys about our new partnership with BetterHelp. If you haven't heard of them, it's an online resource in which you can find your very own friendly local neighborhood therapist, no matter where you are in the world. You sign up, and within 24 hours, they match you with a therapist that's right for you. And you can talk to your counselor every week via phone or video chat. You can also text them between sessions. If you or someone you know has been considering therapy, get started today with BetterHelp. Now let's get back to the show. With this, which is interesting, and it's weird for me to see this, the truth is going to come out in reference to what it is that's really been happening, right? So if, like what I was describing with Gemini, if you've been like in this hyper vigilant state to where you felt like you needed to like be on guard and protect yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or you've been like really paranoid, like just, feeling something is off, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like I have to say it. I feel like I have to say it, but I don't want to at the same time, because I have to get it out of my mouth in order for it to make sense. The reason why I haven't said like this is like woman's intuition, that's not really the vibe I'm picking up on. If it was for me, for it to be intuition, it would have to be like the high priestess that would have to be here. You know what I'm saying? So, and this is a whole conversation that me and my best friend literally had the other day where I was saying, it's a difference between intuition and a trauma response. And like this for me, because 9 of Wands upright for me is my PTSD card. With this being in the reverse, it's like it's still in the vibrational frequency, right, of that. So I feel this is less intuition and more trauma response. And even if it was intuition that was coming in, why it's so important for us to deal with our stuff, people, is because when you get an intuitive hit from spirit, you're not going to go into like hypervigilance and an anxiety type of state. Spirit's gonna be like, this is what's going on. You guys gonna be like, this is what's going on. Not, this might be what's happening. This could be what's going on, Gemini. No, that's not what spirit or your guides are gonna do. They're gonna tell you definitively, this is what's happening. And 9 times out of 10, it's like something's going to happen to show you that very quickly that what you heard was true. But like, and this is a quick little lesson on how intuition works. That's not something your guides, your ancestors, that spirit is going to do. They're not going to put thoughts into your head or send you confusing intuitive messages that are not definitive, because whenever spirit or guides are speaking, they're declarative sentences. It's like, this is the thing. It is not a question. It's not, ooh, they might be, ooh, they probably buy that girl house. Like, it's not going to be like that. So I'm just letting you know. But whatever the case, if there was an intuitive hit that you guys got, right? Or if there was something you were paranoid or suspicious of, the truth is going to come out in reference to this. You know what I'm saying? And I wouldn't, because this is on their side and not yours, I wouldn't even go as far, because of course, the moon in the reverse can speak about, getting messages in dreams, right? I wouldn't even say that for you either, because I still feel with the energy I'm picking up on, that could still be misconstrued, because that could just be subconscious fears that are just manifesting in your sleepy time. You know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that you should be aware of for all my woke spiritual people out there. But anyway, but truth is going to come out in reference to what is going on with your person. You feel what I'm saying? A part of me really wants to find out what that would be, because I'm nosy and I feel like that's not my damn business. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm nosy. And I know y'all will probably want to know what the truth is that's going to be revealed. Of course you do, right? Even though I have to say, even before I pull this card, I feel this in 2 different ways. Like, I feel for some of y'all, it's like it's something that you're going to find out the truth about. For some of y'all, it'll be confirmation. For others of y'all, it's not, because it's kind of like, so it's 2 different groups I'm picking up on, but it's like one group of you, you're gonna find out something, but it's gonna, like, you might feel a little silly because it's not gonna be what you thought was happening. But I do feel there's another group of people to where, like, you know, it is something that you really didn't know was happening. But I still feel like the point of that would be like us having this whole conversation about the difference between intuition and a trauma response. That still would be a lesson for you, because that whole anxious, hypervigilant state that you were in, like, that still isn't like, oh, I knew that was going to happen. No, you really didn't. You feared that it did. You feel what I'm saying? It wasn't like you got a message from spirit, high priestess, bam, we got the moon in the reverse type of thing. I hope that makes sense. We'll talk about that in your soul session for September. Okay, that's the card. Oh my goodness. Okay. Lord, interesting. Well, I mean, child, look, I can't speak about everybody's life, but I mean, the Lord is the dude to trust. You know what I'm saying? So this is interesting. So that's that group of people that I said where I feel where what it is that you're fearing and thinking is going on, you're going to end up realizing it wasn't at all what you thought. You know what I'm saying? But I can't deny, it's like this is the more prominent energy. If this one came up, there's a bigger group of you where it's not going to be what you thought. You feel what I'm saying? And I do feel that there's a group of people where there may be something that ends up coming out. But he's like, he's a well-meaning person, And what is it? He's between 20 and 40. Now, the energy between the two of you, we have the 7 of Pentacles in the reverse. So there's a need to reevaluate this situation. And once again, I don't know why these soulmate sessions are coming out like soul sessions. Like, for those of you where it ends up coming out that what you thought was going on really wasn't what was happening, it's like there's a need to reevaluate how it is one is approaching relationships. Because one thing I know, relationship anxiety is a real thing. Abandonment issues are a real thing. They're legit based on our core beliefs. You know what I'm saying? And there's a myriad of different core beliefs that lead us to act out with abandonment issues. But that's really what this would look like to me. It's like a fear of, a person leaving you or something happening behind your back or whatever. And it's always being on guard and on defense and in fight or flight mode or what have you. But I feel like there's a need to reevaluate, not saying in the sense of like your person is like, oh, they got abandonment issues. Like, we need to reevaluate this whole thing. It's like, no, I just feel like on both sides, because I feel like with your person, what I could be honest about with them, like, it's not necessarily, I don't know if your person is a Scorpio. I don't see that in these cards. But I'm just thinking, like, a lot of times, like, how Scorpios maneuver. And I told a funny story about this in a reading once, that a Scorpio person could come home from work at the same time every day. And one day they don't come home at the same time. And literally all they did was get off from work, like go to Target, go to Starbucks, like drink a frappe, you know what I'm saying? Meander around Ross a little bit, sit in the parking lot, stared at the sky, thought about their life, and then came home. But they would never tell you that they did that, because it's like, what did you do when you got off from work? And it's like, oh, I went home. And it's like, no, you didn't. Like, you home at a whole different time. You had to do something in between. But they're never going to itemize what it is they did, because that's just the way that Scorpio people are, right? So it feels to me almost something like that, where I feel like it's more or less a communication thing that would need to be worked on, because I feel like your person doesn't see like how they communicate, or them kind of, and I don't want to say being secretive, but it's like them being extra private. Not saying that a person needs to change who and how they are, but it's just the fact of them needing to understand how them kind of keeping things under wraps or not openly communicating can be triggering to you, that causes you to feel this way. And it's like you needing to be honest with your person about, like, when you do this, it makes me feel this particular way. So I feel like the reevaluation that needs to happen is you guys kind of meeting each other halfway. Because of course, we're always two individual people that are coming into a partnership. everybody has different issues and problems. It doesn't require anyone to change who they inherently are. But, you know, we compromise for the people that we're with. So I feel the thing that would behoove you guys is not necessarily like throwing in the towel and being like, you don't understand me and I don't like this and da 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 da. It's like us needing to get cool with ourselves and realizing how our actions, behaviors, and things of the sort can affect the person that we care about. I hope and pray that that's making sense, Gemini. Anywho, so you guys, outcome, we have the Tower in the reverse. So that is Scorpio energy. Hello. That is disaster averted. You feel what I'm saying? So whatever it is, is freaking hilarious. So whatever it is that ends up coming out, I can say for sure, what is looking like for me, your person is not a bad person. They're not doing no sneaky, cheating, lying type of stuff like that. Gemini, you know what I'm saying? That's just how it is that they maneuver. But I feel it's like you guys more or less being honest with each other and having this conversation. And I'm saying it more to you, Gemini, because you're listening to me. Like whenever this whole thing happens, like you'd want to have a conversation with your person. Like when you see like, oh, so they just got, they was driving, Uber at night, to make extra money for XYZ and they wasn't sneaky cheating line, right? So it's like when you come to that realization, I feel this whole process that you went through, because I feel like you guys are already in a good place at the fact that you took a stance to say, I'm not going to do this anymore. So I feel like you guys are already aligning with, an energy to where you're not allowing this to affect you like it was. But I still feel like it's necessary for when this crisis is averted, when you're like, oh, so it wasn't that, right? That you're honest with your person about what it is that you experienced. You feel what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. I just think it's funny that that's Scorpio. But anywho, moving right along. You guys, advice. We have the 10 of the cuppies in the reverse. So I literally feel with this dude, and this, like I said with all these, they're really feeling like soul sessions. There's a need for you to be honest with yourself about some things that you have been true, right? I don't know why it is that abandonment issues are screaming out to me. Family of origin issues are screaming out to me, but to be honest, that would be one and the same, because if we have abandonment issues or like your attachment style and all of that stuff, all of that comes from family of origin. So the vibe I'm picking up with this, which is so interesting, it's more or less like subconsciously, it's kind of like, wow, thank you guys. They literally just, they said the thing I said about the car. They was like PTSD. I'm like, oh, that's with the okay, that makes a lot of goddamn sense. So this really would be family of origin issues. It can manifest into a myriad of different things, Gemini, in the present day. But the whole thing is like if you look at either past relationships that you've been in, like maybe one big relationship you were in that was very disappointing, or if you look at like maybe your parents' marriage or something like that, it's like there's beliefs that you have around relationships, and that's all of those wands, right? So there's like beliefs you have about relationships because of something that you've seen, because the only thing that trauma is you being, and this is the simplistic version of me explaining it, but the only thing that trauma is that you are being introduced into a new reality. It's like there's something completely shocking, unexpected that happens that you never would have fathomed would have happened. You feel what I'm saying? And now you find yourself in a place where you're experiencing a new reality. And it's trying to cope with, now I live in a world where things like this can happen when that was never a thought before. You feel what I'm saying? So when you're dealing with stuff like that, or if you haven't faced stuff like that, it's going to affect how it is that you're showing up in relationships, because the advice for you guys would be to face what this 10 of cups in the reverse really is. Like, what's the real disappointment? Like, what's the real trouble? What's the real issue? What's the real problem? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is it that disappointed you once upon a time? Or what is it that your person did that disappointed you once upon a time? You feel what I'm saying? And that's where this still comes into this needing to reevaluate. It's like, are you repeating a cycle? Are you repeating, like sticking with a person that, isn't necessarily healthy for you? Because it's not saying that the person necessarily has to be toxic. But it's like, if we, have like, and I'm just going to use this as an example, so I'm not too long-winded here, but if you have abandonment issues and your person by nature is a person who can come off as secretive, to where they're just private and they don't necessarily feel that they have to like give an explanation for every little thing. And it's not because they're up to something. It's like, that's just their personal thing. Cause I mean, that could go back to, a thing with them. Maybe they were in relationships before where people tried to control them. And it's like, that's how they feel a sense of, freedom in a sense, you know what I'm saying? But it'll become toxic for you if there's a person who just their temperament is a direct trigger to how it is that you are, especially if whatever, the issue or the problem is, you're not really dealing with it, because then it's going to continuously just be chaos and confusion and things of the sort. But I'm getting the vibe that this is almost like a pattern. It's like, this is something that continuously happens where, and I was saying a similar thing for Cancer, where it's like, you get paranoid and like, and I'm just going to stick with one thing. It's like, you get paranoid thinking that your person is cheating on you. You just know it. You just know it without the shadow of a doubt. But then you end up finding out that that wasn't the case at all. And there's a really viable reason as to why that they weren't cheating. So now it's a sigh of relief, crisis averted. You know what I'm saying? Everything is Gucci. But it's like, we're still going to end up back at this same cycle, right? Because it's going to be something else that ends up coming along that makes you, paranoid again, or unhappy again, or unfulfilled again, or feeling like something is off again. You know what I'm saying? And then we're going through this cycle all over again. So no matter how many times you're proved wrong, the question is like, why are we always ending up here, right? And that's less of a relationship type of thing. It's more of a personal type of thing, because if we don't deal with what's unfulfilling or what we feel is missing in our life, or the void that exists within us, if we don't ever cope with that, it doesn't matter who it is that we're with, we're going to keep perpetuating that same cycle. And where this could get really, really toxic, if I were to project this into the future, right? It's like, say if your person changed every single thing about themselves to suit you, right? Now this is an unfair dynamic in a partnership. It's like, now they got a GPS tracker on their phone. You have all their passwords to all their social media to their phone. You could check it all day, every day. So now this person has lost, their boundaries to suit the fact that you don't trust them. You feel what I'm saying? And now there's an unfair dynamic, and you wouldn't want someone to do that to you because, that's controlling and that's very abusive, right? But it's like, sometimes we don't realize that's really what we're asking for. It's like, I need to know where you are every second minute of the day type of thing. But that all goes back to whatever this wound is of why it is that there's a fear of trusting, whether it's abandonment issues, it's attachment issues, relationship anxiety, whatever the case, right? And we owe it to ourselves to face, things we've been through and deal with them. You feel what I'm saying, Gemini? I hope that makes sense. So anywho, I'm not going to do 4 cards. I'm just going to do 3. You know what I'm saying? So go ahead and pick 1, 2, or 3. Our little pick a card, I use this as like a clarifier. So, we're talking about general messages here for you to get more insight into your situation and things of the sort. So if you pick number 1, we have wedding rings, union, wedding, married, soul connection, eternal love, everlasting promise. Absolutely. That's a beautiful thing. Ooh, child. If somebody got a little side job and they've been disappearing because they've been delivering Uber Eats, trying to get you a little engagement ring, I'ma spank your booty, Gemini. I'm just saying. But anywho, if you pick group 1, I feel things are good for you guys. But if you want this to grow into something that can last a lifetime, you feel what I'm saying? It would behoove you to reevaluate how it is that you're showing up in the relationship. I say for your person as well, because it's a 2-person job. It's never just 1 person's fault. You know what I'm saying? But the only person that you have control over is yourself, Gemini. But I feel like everything is Gucci is just in order to, help this go to where it is it needs to go, is facing whatever it is that's going on underneath it all. You feel me? Now, if you pick group 2, we have the chaser and codependent relationship. Oh, there you go. Fear of abandonment issue. Okay. So yeah, dude, that's literally what it is that I was saying. It's like there's a whole line of things. It's codependency, it's relationship anxiety, it's abandonment issues, it's attachment issues. And these are all things you can totally Google to learn more about them. But it's literally like clinging to something. And it works one or two ways. And like how I was saying with the Nine of Wands in the reverse, and I was saying like the first word that came out of my mouth was isolation. It's like isolation. And then my guys were like hypervigilance. That's that self-protection. That's when you put the wall up because it's like, I know you about to leave me, or I know you up to this. So it's like, let me put my guard up to protect my heart so you don't hurt me. You feel what I'm saying? But it's really like it's a hypersensitive person type of thing where you're just kind of more aware of dynamics that most people aren't. So if one little, and that's another thing that comes from childhood trauma too, by the way, you know what I'm saying? Like the woo-woo world calls it like a hypersensitive person, but that's literally like the byproduct of like complex PTSD, where it's like because like it was a survival skill as a child, like you needed to know everything that was happening. Is mommy or daddy in a bad, mood, whatever. But I feel specifically for my people who pick group 2, it's important if you guys resonate with any of those things that I've said, you know what I'm saying? And I mean, hell, y'all, we could do a goddamn webinar on it or something. Comment below if you would like me to go more in detail on stuff like this, so I don't give y'all a whole lesson in your reading. But if you resonate with anything like that, it would benefit you to address those things, like for yourself, not just for your person, not just for this relationship, not for any relationship, but literally for yourself. You feel me? And if you pick group 3, we have mirroring each other, self-image, relationships, reflect our wounds and introspection. Child, I can totally see that. Like I feel in a big way, whether you pick 1, 2, or 3, especially if you pick group 3, child, it's like everything it is that you're experiencing in this relationship, it's like it's bringing stuff up to the surface. And I'm thinking about, was that Taurus? If you have Taurus in your chart, or if your person is a Taurus, I mean, hell, just watch the Taurus Soulmate Session, because I talked about a couple in there where the person was like a karmic catalyst for the other person. And it didn't really matter what was going on. And the partnership is just the fact that they were teaching them like a very important karmic lesson about themselves, right? And that's like what I'm picking up on with group 3. So it's more or less, it's like those, not saying that this is a twin flame union, but it's like that kind of vibe you get with twin flames where you're literally seeing yourself. So it's like, and especially with the moon too, it's like seeing like how we're projecting ourselves onto other people, like our own wounding, stuff we've been through. And a person behaves a certain way and their intention may not be what we went through past tense, but that's all that we see. You feel what I'm saying? Because we're seeing through the eyes of our wounds, if that's making sense. You know what I'm saying? But I hope that makes sense, Gemini. That's been your September Soulmate Session. You know what I'm saying? I love your freaking face. I will see you guys sooner than later, my friends. And kiss, kiss. It's my new thing. It's lame, but so am I. So kiss, kiss, bitch.